If it feels like resentment is slowly destroying the connection with your partner, then it probably is. Here are 3 signs and ways to reconnect. The first sign is when the communication just stops. It might look like giving short one-word answers to questions, like when you walk in the door from your work day and your partner asks, "How was your day?" And all you give is a simple, "Fine." You don't offer anything more, or you change the subject. This isn't just about being tired. Resentment, it builds a wall, and open conversation is one of the first things that gets blocked. Maybe you felt ignored or brushed aside when you tried to share how you felt in the past, but after a while it just feels like trying to talk is pointless. So you retreat into silence because it feels safer, but it's incredibly damaging to the relationship. So what can you do? The first step, create a safe space for conversation to start again. That space can be a physical space like a room or a block of time or both. Either way, the key is to be intentional about it. So instead of ambushing your partner with a "we need to talk" as soon as they walk in the door from work, try setting a time. You could say something like, "Hey, I'd love to connect tonight. Can we put our phones away for about 20 minutes and just talk?" And if you get the "why, what's up" question, you could say something like, "I miss talking with you, and it's always better after we've had time to decompress from our day." Scheduling time to talk is not sexy, and it's not spontaneous, but this is the best way to rebuild connection when it's been broken. It really starts with simple conversations to help ease the anxiety both of you might have. Start by asking open-ended questions like, "Hey, hon, what were the 3 best things about your day?" And then be open to listening. Hopefully your partner will ask you a question and listen in return. If not, that's okay at first. The goal here is to reopen the lines of communication. Then close the conversation with something about how you feel. I've been feeling a little distant from you lately, and it's because I feel unheard. I really miss feeling like we can talk about what's going on. I'm glad we connected tonight. Thank you for sharing. Eventually, you'll be able to ask deeper questions as the safety returns, but give it some time. The second sign resentment might be alive and well in your relationship is you've slipped into the roommate phase. You know this one. You live together, share the same space, coordinate the schedules and bills, but the emotional spark has died out. It feels less like you're sharing a life and more like you're just running a household together, because that's what it is. This emotional distance, it shows up as a lack of affection. And guess what? Intimacy isn't just about sex. It's about that feeling of closeness, spontaneous hugs, holding hands, little touches as you brush past each other in the kitchen. When resentment is present, you might be consciously or unconsciously pulling away from that connection to protect yourself from getting hurt again. And conversations end up being all about logistics. "Hey, hon, did you pay the bill? Who's picking up the kids? What do we need from the store?" The little wins from your day, the funny stories or dreams for the future stop being shared. So if it feels like there's a polite but not warm glass wall between you that you don't want your partner to break through, that's a red flag that resentment is being held on to. How can you begin to chip away at that glass wall? It starts with being willing to say the feeling without pointing the finger. Something like, "I really miss feeling close to you. I feel like we've been acting more like roommates than partners lately." This can be a powerful way to open the door without starting a fight. Then Suggest doing something together where the only goal is reconnecting. This cannot be about chores or routine to-dos. Suggest a walk after dinner with no phones, a weekly coffee date, or even just 15 minutes of real conversation before you go to sleep. The activity itself isn't as important as the intention behind it, which is to start turning toward each other again instead of away. You know, navigating these conversations is hard. It takes a lot of emotional strength and a clear strategy to express your feelings constructively. If you're struggling to find the right words, or you feel like these moments always blow up, it really can help to have some tools to guide you. That's why I created the 10 low-risk questions to gently reopen communication with your partner. These questions are designed to feel safe, start small, and gradually create space for real dialogue without triggering defensiveness or conflict. And it's free. Grab it using the link in the description below. All right, so the third sign that resentment may be present in the relationship is when passive aggression begins to surface. Why? Because resentment that isn't talked about directly has to go somewhere, and it often just leaks out in these subtle, indirect ways. This can show up as sarcasm that has a sharp, biting edge. These might be passed off as, it's just a joke, but they don't feel funny and they're meant to land as a jab. Or it could be a pattern of forgetting to do things your partner has asked, or doing them but not the way your partner wanted. Another classic sign is scorekeeping, where past mistakes are brought up during completely unrelated arguments, making it clear there's a running list of everything they've ever done wrong. It's also common to become more irritable. Little things that never seemed to be a bother before, like the way your partner loads the dishwasher, suddenly becomes a huge source of annoyance. This isn't really about the dishwasher at all. It's a symptom of deeper frustrations being projected onto something small. So, how do you handle this? The key is to deal with the real issue, not just mask it with a sarcastic comment. The next time you're about to make a biting remark, stop and ask yourself, what am I actually upset about? Then try to communicate that directly. Sometimes the remark just slips out of your mouth before you realize it. Spend some time afterward figuring out what it was you were truly upset about. Then go back to your partner, apologize for the remark slipping out, and share with them what you were really upset about. Make sure that apology is genuine as well. To stop the scorekeeping, it's really helpful to deal with one issue at a time. When that urge comes up to bring up something from the past, try to tell yourself, we need to focus on this one issue right now, just this one issue. This stops the conversation from spiraling out of control, and it's how you begin to model the kind of direct communication you want to have. If you recognize any of the ways resentment can show up, it's normal to feel scared or overwhelmed. Seeing them doesn't mean the relationship is over. It's a signal that something needs to change. Resentment means that there are needs that aren't being met, and there are hurts that aren't being healed. The path back to each other takes courage from both of you. It means acknowledging the resentment without judgment, starting to communicate feelings directly, and making a real effort to rebuild appreciation and respect. It means choosing to turn toward your partner, especially when it feels hard. And this is not going to change overnight. It's a process. Old destructive habits have to be replaced with new positive habits. This can happen if you take it one small step at a time. When you take that first step and you have that first moment, have that difficult conversation, and decide to truly listen, you do begin to find your way back to each other. Thank you for watching. If this video hit home for you, please consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. And let me know in the comments which of these signs you've recognized. You're definitely not alone in this.